Hi, how is everyone doing? Oh, I can make it play music. Hold on, watch this. That's not the music it's going to play. Can you hear that? But yes, hello, Vicky. Hello, bestie. I dropped the link in there, so copy and see if that works. If not, I'll send it to you else in a different way. But yeah, welcome to everyone who's here, and welcome to any of the replay crew. I appreciate all of you for being here. All right, now how do I? There we go. Didn't want it on too long. So yeah, welcome. Today, I thought it was important to talk about some mental health stuff regarding true crime because it's becoming pretty popular. And I think that it's something I'm interested in, and the link is for anyone that wants to come on to the show. So that S7, she can click that link and then she can pop up in the little chat. And then if anyone else comes into the chat that they want to join, they can do it. I wonder if I can star it. Maybe that will pop it up so everyone can see it, so it's pinned. I'm not exactly sure, but S7 can use that to jump on, and so can everyone else if they want to. You are welcome to pop on, Vicky, but but yeah, so I thought today we would just talk about it. I found a couple articles, and one of my favorite true crimers, I think the queen of true crime, Bailey Sarian, she just did a Q&A, and I will make sure to link it in the description or in the chat comment section when we're finished. But she did a Q&A, and she kind of answered a couple questions that I thought were relevant to our discussion tonight. So I've got those clips ready as well. So let's see. See, I'm kind of waiting to see if anyone wants to jump in. I still don't know how to see how many people are in here. But for whoever's in here, thank you for being here. Okay, let's see. So I really like both these articles. And I kind of wanted to read them with you guys. But the Vice one, that's kind of that one's a longer one, so I might skim through that one. The other article is, oops, how do I do this? Shift, I'm trying to make it so you can see me. Ooh, can you see it? Hold on, maybe this one's better. Does that work? I clearly have no idea what I'm doing. I'm trying to. Okay, there we go. And change my Zoom so I can get a little closer. Okay, so this article is called Your True Crime Obsession Could Be Hurting Your Mental Health. And this is from Vice. So it just says, over the past few years, America's fascination with true crime has blossomed. Series from the podcast Serial to Netflix crime scene, The Vanishing at Cecil Hotel, have garnered huge followings, due largely to audiences' morbid curiosity and the taboo of it all. Why they do it, how they do it, what drives them, how they were able to move about society undetected. There's also a desire to understand the dark side of the human condition. Women, and we have a statistics later that will show, but women who are often the primary consumers of true crime, according to a 2010 study, tend to view true crime as an emotional tool, providing framework on how to detect potential abusers and avoid dangerous situations. Plus, an unsolved mystery can be entertaining as hell. I don't know if I would say it's entertaining. I don't know if I like that word. Okay, good. You can see me. I that's very interesting about how women are often the primary consumers of true crime because we use it as like an educational tool. And that's kind of what I've always said, that knowledge makes you more powerful. And if we can learn from these crimes, then at least something positive can happen. So that was interesting. Neat, neat. Oh, sorry guys, I zoomed way too fast. Okay, I'm trying to go slow. My computer just doesn't want to listen to me right now. Okay, so it goes on to just basically say that there's nothing wrong with having your daily true crime habit. But if you're feeling depressed and anxious, paranoid, you just may need to reevaluate, how much you're taking in and learn kind of to balance it. And recent research showed that when people actively consumed crime news, whether through news outlets, radio, or television documentaries, they reported being more fearful of crime, regardless of actual crime rate. The same can be said for true crime fans. It's important to monitor how you're feeling as you're listening, reading, and watching. Have you guys noticed any of that? Feeling like more paranoid? Hi, cutie pie. Welcome. So glad to have you here. Yeah, right now we're just kind of reading this article and we're kind of going over true crime, just some articles, and talking about how it can affect our mental health. And I thought that was interesting about how, it can make us more fearful of crime, regardless of actual crime rate. I know for me that I get kind of freaked out. Like, I didn't really notice, actually. I kept telling everyone that it didn't make me more paranoid. And I was walking with my daughter. We were walking her dog. And there was this guy at the end of the trail, and instantly my alert popped up, and he was just a harmless old man. But I was with my daughter, and I know that looks can be very deceiving, and I know that I'm supposed to protect her, so that kind of pops into my head. I try not to cover any cases that have to do with like online predators and things like that, because having a child, that scares the crap out of me, and I'm afraid I would never let her touch a computer again. So yeah, that's why you won't see that on my channel, because I definitely think it plays a role in if I'm nervous or not about things. All right, let's see. This is kind of this is an interesting part of the article. It says, for starters, overconsumption of murder podcasts can give you the overinflated sense that serial killers are constantly lurking around us. according to the FBI, serial murders account for less than 1% of all murders. So they're not popular at all. And I know I've read that statistic someplace else too. But this lady, I'm convinced I'm going to be killed on a daily basis. And I know logically that is probably not going to happen. I definitely don't think I take it that far. I don't think I'm going to be killed on a daily basis. What about you guys? Hey, how are you, Christy? What's up? The link I put up there, feel free to pop on whenever you want, if you want. Same with US7. Just I think I might be short. But yeah, so I guess I think that's taking it too far. I don't know about other people, but I watch true crime on a daily basis, and I definitely don't think I'm going to be killed on a daily basis. Sorry, Luna. Hey, come here. It's okay. Come here. She's so protective. Come here. You're just fine. It's fine. I mean, I have my dog to protect me. She's scary. Just kidding. All right, let's see. Going down here. I think just of this, the article also goes in to talk about how a problem with true crime is that Luna Jade, come here. Hey, sorry guys. She'll stop in a sec. She's got her like mohawk. She's being super protective. So it goes in to talk about how these crimes hardly ever, they don't represent the full scope of crime in the US. And the cases that tend to be shared are the ones that captivate an audience due to their uniqueness. And even they tend to be sensationalized. But I don't know. What do you guys think that? I keep hearing that crime, that it's always been this bad, but I just don't. Luna is paranoid. I remember crime being this bad. I don't know if it was that the crime was always this bad and it wasn't run, but I don't remember it being like that. So let's see. S7, did you get on? Maybe I didn't do it right, guys. Let me know for sure. So it goes on to talk about this psychologist, Erica Rojas, told Vice, you should ask yourself, are these accurate depictions of the average event that happens? Not really, she said. On one hand, it's certainly healthy to prepare ourselves for this dangerous event out there. But on the other hand, living in this state of alertness can really lead to unnecessary paranoia at times. See, I'm looking at the chat. Cutie Pie. I just love that name. I wouldn't say I'm definitely more aware of my surroundings. Yeah, crime is off the charts where I live too. I really think it's gone. But I definitely have found that, watching it really does make me feel safer and more, knowledgeable about what's going on. I don't know how to take that comment off the screen. Oh, did it go away? Nope. Oh, it did. Okay. It's just going low. Oh, you listen to the scanner. That's smart. I actually thought about doing that because my daughter's in high school, and if she didn't have a cell phone and couldn't alert me to what's going on, I just don't trust the news or the school to let me know if something's happening. So having a scanner would be really helpful for that. Oh, looks like someone's going to join me. Hey, girl. Oh,
Able to hear me?
I got a bunch of people popping in. Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Yo, can
I'm
you hear me
good. How
good?
are you?
I'm good. Do I have an echo?
Yep.
I bet I'm gonna have to
I
mute
don't know.
my YouTube in the background. Hold on, let me see.
Okay, no
Do
worries.
I have an echo?
This is all new to me. So, nope, you're good. So, for those of you who are in the chat, this is S7. She is my partner in crime. Ha. On this channel, she helps me. She's my bestie. But she also helps me with everything. Stop it, Luna. She's just being quite the little. She wants her bone, and it's like underneath the table. And of course, she needs it right now. And yeah, and then Chrissy is she's here. I'll put a link to her channel. Hey, girl.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
So good. I'm actually out and about, so I'm riding passenger in the car and wanted
It's
to
so
join
nice to have you here. Thanks for coming, both of you. Oh, driving around, getting your errands done.
Yeah, we've been working all day getting ready for Memorial Day. We're gonna have a barbecue, so out and about, taking a break. So I did read the article,
Well,
and I
thanks
jumped in and
for
I did
coming
hear you
on.
reading it. So yeah, for sure.
So, what do you do? Um, having a channel and being a viewer of true crime. And I know I met Christy at a trial, and uh, I just thought Christy was the sweetest lady. So I'm so excited that you're on. But what do you do? Anything in particular?
You know, honestly, I guess maybe I've got um, a strong gut for some of this stuff, and so it doesn't really get to me too terribly much. But there are times that I notice like becoming emotionally attached. So it's I think it's hard to not actually have that empathy and care and emotion, and so I do find myself becoming emotionally attached to people that I don't even know. And I think that I kind of sometimes just have to talk through that. I have several friends that follow true crime with me, and we all talk and kind of digest and decompress. And then I think that taking breaks away to do other things that I enjoy is nice. So, like tonight, my husband and I will go out and go to a show tonight. And it'll be nice because we like concerts and we like music and we like to get away. And it just is a way to shut that off for a bit and come back because, like these cases go on for a long time. And so it's really hard to not be caught up in that constant daily what is the update on each case, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I know that, during Letitia's trial, I did more crying than I have done in a long time. And that was an especially hard case. But, it oh, I'm reading the chats. But yeah, I just kind of had to turn it off. I just saw Cutie Pie's comment. Yes, my daughter has one as well. Um, I hated to buy her one too, but it was either that, she wasn't going to be uh, going to school and public school. And it's sad, bulletproof backpacks aren't cheap, but, um, they're well worth their lives, definitely. Do you ever get scared, family being in school or like kids, family, things that, people that you care about? Do you feel like covering these cases make you more paranoid?
I just think it makes me more aware. I don't feel more paranoid. I feel more aware. And so I guess maybe to some degree that's paranoia, right? Like I do check the exits of places that I go. I am definitely watching um,
Mhm.
body language. I've watched too many body language analysts, and so I'm watching the room and I'm watching the way people are interacting, and I feel like I've got a heightened sense of awareness, but I don't know that I would so much call it paranoia. I just think I'm more aware.
Yes.
I, I see
Yeah.
S7 skipping
I
my
agree.
language in StreamYard. Hopefully, you guys hear me okay.
Yep, I saw that. I can hear you. Um,
Okay, good.
I think it was skipping at first, but I think hopefully now it should be good now. Um,
Yeah,
and do
I
you have
think
like certain rules for yourself, like when you like how much you intake of true crime?
I think it's really hard. Uh, I I need to have better boundaries. I know that I because you can't predict it, right? So things are happening and they're happening fast. Or specifically with Letitia Stout, especially at the beginning before she was arrested and when all the social media was going on, it was really hard to detach from that because it was nonstop. As a matter of fact, I lost a lot of sleep at that time, and so I think it's really hard to set any kind of boundaries with true crime because it's so unpredictable. You're one day you're taking a break away and you're enjoying yourself, and then you hop on Twitter or Facebook or wherever, YouTube especially, and there's a new case up, and next thing you know, you're down the rabbit hole again. And so I think it's really hard.
Did we lose you? Are you there?
I'm here. Can you still hear me?
Um, but she's talking about, I can hear you.
Okay, good. I think we've got a bit of a delay.
Um, I think so. It's probably my internet connection or something. I don't have the best, but I agree with everything you've said. I try to take a break as well, but like after the stock trial, I said I was going to take a break, and then I learned about Daryl Wiggins, and I needed to get. You almost feel like, or I feel like sometimes I'm not doing enough. Like I keep seeing these cases, and there's so many I want to cover, but there's only one of me, and now helping me, but it can be at times.
It's really hard. I ended up on the fence on if I wanted to push my channel and do anything more with it. I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of content that I could talk about. But after the Stout trial, I had to take a break. I was very personally involved in that case. I became very close, and so at least 2 days And so initially, my plan was to finish the trial. I and hop on over to YouTube and start kind of pushing my channel a little bit to talk about cases. And I found that I needed a break. It's not a huge break, but I felt like I more it actually pushing my own content. And just as much as I had everything to come to an end, I'm sure you've kind of realized it hasn't fully come to an end yet. And so I just I'm on a hiatus for a bit. I don't know
Yeah.
what I'll do. We'll see.
Well, I totally get it. And I have heard of great creators shutting down their channel because of threats. And luckily, I haven't received uh, too many people that were creepy. But that's another thing we have to be aware of too. As a mom, I just, my safety and my family's safety comes first. Um, and so that always kind of scares me. But hopefully, the trolls will steer clear. Um, but
I think that's a
yeah,
huge
let's
issue.
see.
Uh, for me, I really just don't want to. I really don't want to mingle in the same waters as a bunch of sharks. And some of these people don't even have any sense of common sense. You've got people out there calling DHS on content creators. You've got people out there stalking them down, doxing them. And the reality of it is, none of that is true crime. And at some point, there's got to be some differentiating between what's true crime and what is absolutely not. And I think these people really think that they're true crime, but they're not. That has nothing to do with it. It's one thing to speculate and have case discussion, but when you start to contact people and speculate about children or falsely accuse people of some wild, outlandish things, it's like it just gets weird. A bunch of weirdos, and I'm not a weirdo. I'm a really down to earth person, and so I have found a lot of creators that I'm following who have strong ethics and they're fighting back against that sort of thing. And I've found a slight love for it. And I don't know if that's kind of some of the area that I do want to navigate into, but I would love to join in the likes of the people who are going up against these, they call them tragedy pimps, you know, and I really like to, or bad actors. I'd like to kind of go up against some of these people. I mean, I would have loved to dare Bullhorn Betty to have come to the Letitia Stout trial. Good luck to her. She would not. We would have rocked her world. And so I'd like to see there be a lot more of a joined force up against that, where it's not cool to dox people. It's not cool
Bullhorn Betty
to.
said she down to the.
What's that? Uh-oh, Des. I think I lost you. What'd you say?
Did you say that Bullhorn Betty said she was going to come down to the trial?
No, I said I would have loved
Did you
for
say
her
that
to, because
Bullhorn Betty said she was coming down to the trial, the
yeah,
stock
I said
trial?
I would have loved for her to. I could have dared her, like I'd like to go up against the likes of people like that. I really would. I'm just sick of them. I'm like, it should be not cool to do these things. Like, I, there's nothing flattering or cool about it. It should be super
I
embarrassing
think
to
it's
act that way.
no, there's not. And I think as creators, I'm seeing there are some really good creators, definitely. Kendall Ray, I love her channel. Stephanie Harlow, I think they're all pretty respectful. But then you've got other channels that I feel like are living, they put up different like thumbnails with what they're talking about, and I found that to be really disappointing. I've also seen true crime people that talk, just bad about the families, etc. And I want the space to be like safe. We can all have an opinion. Go on. And Luna's trying to get in the middle of my computer wires. Um, but yeah, I agree, Cutie Pie. I don't like, as soon as I start to feel that, I'm done listening to their channel pretty much. I think we have a responsibility.
We do.
And that is to be respectful.
I think we learned during Kylie Rodney how
Because, love
gross.
to jump and be like, hey, I think this is this. Um, did I lose you?
I think I've got a terrible connection, Des. It's me or you. Like,
No worries. No worries, girl. Hey, oh, you look so pretty.
oh, thanks. So do you.
Thank you. But what were you saying?
I just think that during Kylie Rodney, things got real bad. The case of Quentin Simon, that was real bad. I like John Crimes too, Cutie Pie. Have you watched John Crimes, Des?
Yes.
Yeah, I like John Crimes.
I've seen, I believe, a couple of his shows. Stephanie Harlow is one of my go-tos. So
Yeah, she's good. She's really good. Although she's got a pretty massive channel. Is it? Yeah. I'm in a location that's blah.
yes, she does. Well, you look good right now.
I mean,
Looks like the connection is good.
yeah, I think, and I think that's part of
Yeah,
the
I
mental
think we're
health piece.
losing.
You might be. That's part of the mental health piece, though. I think that when you start tying in all the other nonsense into this, that's when things get murky. It makes my brain hurt. It makes me want to explode. I'm in chat and I'm typing things and I'm trying to correct people and I'm like getting frustrated and yeah, I can't do it. And that starts messing with my mental health because I'm like, some of these people are batshit, you know? They're real crazy, they're weird. And I could talk about case
Yeah.
discussion, but when you start getting crazy, and then Summer Wells case messed me up. I can't deal. All these people over there in the Summer Wells case, we're gonna throw every day a video up about Summer. We're gonna do with these obnoxious thumbnails. We're gonna be accusing. Granted, I understand why they're accusing her parents. I understand. I mean, her parents don't look good, right? They just don't. Things are looking really bad because of their behavior. But you can't accuse fully when you just simply don't know what may have happened. I mean, if we had a little more evidence, now, in all fairness, when Letitia Stout was acting like a fool, I was like, she did it. There was no doubt in my mind. But there was so much evidence of that happening right in front of our faces. So there wasn't so much debate with Candace and Don Wells. I mean, we've got a lot that we speculate about, but there's a lot we don't know that we think we know, but we don't know. And then like Kylie Rodney, there were YouTube creators being accused, like Ichabel was accused. Did you see any of that with Kylie Rodney? It was wild.
Yes. I did. I heard briefly, Evan was telling me a little bit about it. But it's insane how these people can, attack creators But then at the same time, creators have to be careful because we have to be very careful about what we say. Because just accusing somebody of something could completely, like Cutie Pie says, it could harm the case and it could harm their reputation forever. And what if they really had nothing to do with it? Now, Letitia, she was another story. I think the entire world knew that she was guilty.
We
So,
knew she looked guilty. She
but yeah,
acted guilty. The whole entire thing was just outrageous. Um, I don't know. I think for me that's part of it. Mental health. We gotta be careful who we dabble with, right? Like we've got to be careful who we bump elbows with. If you want to have good people in your circle who you're talking with, then you may very well thrive in this space. My Facebook group thrived, and it might have only been just under 5,000 people, but the group of people that were in there and like the dynamics of the people and the friendships that came along, I thought, was a very healthy space. It was nice. Um, so it's possible. It's just YouTube's kind of like the streets. You gotta have eyes in the back of your head all times.
all times. I think another thing, to point out, in Gannon's story. And hey, ACV, welcome. So glad you came. Thank you to your friend who referred you. But I think like these people, and I think a lot of it had to do with the claims, that Letitia was making about Landon, Gannon's mom, but people ran with that story and they shared it and they told people about it without having any type of, backup to that knowledge. And they really did a
Because
number on her reputation. And she's a beautiful lady.
yes, she's a wonderful person. I've gotten
Yeah.
to know her, firsthand, and it was infuriating for
Yeah.
me. That's part of the reason I had to step back. I'm like, I cannot with people. Hold on, real quick. I'll be right back. I'm still here. Yeah, I stepping away from her, um,
Yeah.
from her nonsense talking about Letitia, was very difficult, and I think a lot of people struggled with trying to decipher what was real and what was not, and it was frustrating. I was very very frustrated during the whole entire case. Um, it is true. Landon was definitely slandered all over the place, all over the internet. Um, she was accused of being a drug addict. She's not. Um, she was accused of losing her children. She never did. Never did. Provide one receipt that says she lost her children. She didn't. They had a shared custody agreement. There were some concerns. Hey, any of us who've had kids, if you ever go through any kind of a custody situation, or I'm trying to roll up on my windows so I can hear you as good as possible. Anyways, anytime you go through a custody situation or you have to share your children with the other parent, it's never going to be easy. There are things that may come up along the way. And she wasn't a perfect
Definitely.
person. She remarried, and the guy that she remarried, they had some troubles themselves. Um, Life is hard. Uh, but in the mere moment of her,
It
uh,
is. And we don't need to make it harder.
yeah, in the mere moment of her worst of days, when she is going through the worst nightmare she could ever imagine, and you've got speculation on her when she didn't do this at all. Children should be able to go with their dad and be safe, or they should be able to go with their mom and be safe. And she was never to blame because she let her
Yeah.
children go with their dad. That's a normal thing. Um, I can't understand it. I won't
So
ever
it's just,
entertain
it's so sad.
it. Look at, I'm rocking
I
my
met her
G-Man bracelet
when
right
I
now.
was young. There. Yes, I don't have mine on, but I usually actually do. I've had it on in my other videos. But yeah, I just think that's such a sad case. We have to be very careful because as, as true crime creators, what we you know what we tell people and put out there, people are going to roll with it and they're going to start accusing people that are innocent. And let's see, what did ACB? Hi, all. This is a really important discussion, in my opinion. Creators are not journalists, but in many ways are more important than journalists in terms of impact on the public. I agree.
Absolutely.
We reach a lot of people, and our yeah, and people
There's some
listen
people
more
that
to
will
us than,
watch.
they feel more comfortable listening to YouTube creators.
They will watch the same creator every day
Go
because
ahead.
they've got
What?
a fan for them. Some people are um, very attached to a particular creator, and there comes a lot of responsibility with that. It's not easy, and it's okay to be wrong and say that you're wrong. It happens. We're all wrong sometimes, and so it's okay to be wrong and say you're wrong. I also think it's okay to lead with love. Like, it's
It
okay
is
to,
definitely.
oh, keep going.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you. I was just saying, you know, uh, it's okay too. I really like the creators that have made a mistake and pop up right away and just say, "I'm really sorry. This was wrong," or take the book down. When their integrity is good. So, and I
Absolutely.
don't think there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people out there that are giving true crime a name.
Yes, absolutely. There are. Um, I think when you go into a
Yeah,
case,
but
you have to be mindful that some of this stuff that ends up on the internet is there forever. You don't just get to take it down. Not to mention, someone else will snap it and clip it and, repost it or stream it. And all of your, just choose your words carefully. Take a deep breath before you say something. Um, but I've been guilty of it, even during Gannon's case. You know, um, I found myself joining the Team Albert or Team Landon pool, and it's like neither one of them should have been a team on each side. None of us should have done
yeah,
that. So, but I did. I'm a woman's woman.
no,
I'm to a fault. I
no,
I I love women, and I'm gonna stand for women, except for Letitia Stout. Okay. Um, but I love women, and I was pretty clear on my stance. I was like,
she's a different story. She's not a woman. She doesn't love.
mm, terrible, terrible human being. And I think that's kind of where it came from in my mind. I started
Yeah,
to think of things
I'm trying to
like,
go to my comment section, but now my
I was thinking things like, was there any signs? Did anyone miss anything? Um, was Albert having an affair?
no, go
Things
ahead.
like that. And even if he was, people have affairs every day. You could cheat on your spouse. Nobody needs to kill a child. It's just one hand doesn't
Yeah.
feed the other. I'm not sure how it could be fixed either. I'm
Oh
reading.
gosh, yeah.
I don't know that it can.
No, I agree. There's never.
But I do think
I
building a
don't.
bigger community that is
Yeah,
better, that where it's more desirable to be part of that community, um, I think that's probably a good start. That's where my channel name comes from. I'm just going to stay over here. I'm not even going over there. Not with the nonsense.
I
Mm-mm.
like that actually. That's great. I'm gonna put a
Yeah,
link in the comment, but I have to open up your YouTube channel. But
exactly, cutie pie. It should only be Team Gannon. And see how muddy it
I think
gets? We just
um up we got someone else. Let's see. Hey.
Hi, I didn't expect to come up so quickly.
I didn't realize that I didn't know how long you'd been in there, so I just got excited when I saw a little box down
Oh
there.
yeah, I struggled for 10 minutes trying to get this to work.
Yeah. Um, you've got some good knowledge too. So this is the prof. Prof, this is Christy from over here at True Crime.
Hi, Christy.
And yeah, we're just, talking about what we do to balance. Well, actually, we kind of switched over to talk about our responsibilities as creators to report ethically, like with integrity. Um, and a lot on Delta and things like that. But what do you do? Like, how do you balance true crime? Um, how do you deal with, the Delphi case? That's a little bit wonky. But I don't know what's going on. But how do you deal with the stress of, or how do you deal with covering true crime? How do you make sure you're doing it ethically? And what do you do when people aren't happy with your reporting? Because you can't please everyone.
Right, right. Well, I thought it was interesting that the concept of we are not journalists. We are not, um, and we typically have small audiences compared to major journalists who have responsibilities to many people. So on the ethical part, I look at it as I believe I look at myself as a commentator, and so being a commentator, we do have responsibility to not commit crimes of threats or slander and all of that. But within those bounds, I believe that we should be able to have our commentary freely and in some cases it's particularly difficult because
Mhm.
as you know, when you're dealing with crime where uh, they are the investigations are ongoing and you have questions about uh, family members or friends or anyone that is closer to the victims, it's really treacherous, right? Because I often am reminded of a case of someone named Susan Smith in the 1990s who
Killed her children.
killed her children by locking them in the car and running the car into a lake. And what she did after
Yes.
that is she manipulated the media to an extreme. You know, and when I
She did.
see CNN and like the most major media, um, and it was really divided then because people were suspecting her suspicious behavior, but then it was taboo to talk about it. And then when it all finally came out that she drowned her kids, people could look back and say, "Yeah, I knew it the whole time because of her behavior." So I feel that way with these true crime cases where if we are looking at that we find suspicious and we're gagged and not able to discuss it at all, it's not really true commentary. You know, it's,
Agreed.
yeah. So the way I've been handling it on the ethics side is I feel like I'm going to say what I'm going to say, but what I'm not going to do at all is threaten or slander or not say that I am hypothesizing and I am observing and I am alleging, you know,
Yes.
yeah, I'm not going to state it because
Yes.
investigators know cold-hearted facts. We don't yet, but one day we will, you know.
It's okay to speculate and say that's what you're doing.
Yeah, and but you know
I'm
the
speculating about this. I'm thinking that this could be something that's happening, but I don't know. How
this is
could I know? I wasn't there. I'm not an investigator. I'm not privy to information, but
mhm.
it doesn't seem right. It seems wonky. That's okay to say. Um, I think it's also okay um, to kind of guide your audience, you know? So if they're getting a little out of hand and over speculating, it's like kind of pulling in the reins. Okay, guys, stand back and think about this logically.
Mhm.
Sure, could this be a possibility? But do we know? We don't know.
Right. We're saying what we think and believe, not necessarily what we know as fact. Yeah.
Hmm.
And they're
Absolutely.
fighting because, like you were mentioning, people are passionate, and then it often ends up they go on two extreme fights. What I've been doing is trying to keep that out of my chat. So when that comes up, I try to say, look, we're not attacking anyone here. You know.
Hmm.
Agreed.
That's a
That's a
really
good
good.
question.
Yeah.
I don't know of any creators that are getting paid to influence the narrative in a case for factual.
Yeah. I don't know any
I have
facts.
some creators that I suspect of some crazy, crazy things. And they do have law enforcement connections, and they do have.
Hmm.
When you dabble in this, you're going to meet people.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
I've become very good friends with a coroner in the state of Colorado, and she has done some. She's a investigative coroner, and so she's done some pretty known cases.
Is that the one
And
that
I
was at the
adore her.
trial?
No,
Was she?
mm-mm,
No. Okay. I was there for the
no.
coroner's testimony for the trial, but that's the only one I've seen.
She did a very well-known officer involved, not shooting, death case.
Oh.
Hint, hint. But yes, she's very knowledgeable, and we've become good friends. And so I don't. It doesn't surprise me that there could be creators who have connections or involved with law enforcement, or they know people, and maybe they are getting paid to steer a narrative or steer some direction away from certain things. Um,
They'd have to have
I
a pretty
wouldn't surprise
large audience, I would think, to be
me.
able to, well, maybe not, I guess. I guess anything's possible. There are some shady people out there that I've kind of wondered about myself.
Well,
Um,
and even think of it on the flip side. There's also ethical people that could be doing things for a very ethical reason to steer a narrative.
Mhm.
yes. Yeah, that's a good point too.
Well, and I
There's
have about you see a big problem I have, and I think that where I would on the mental health side, I think that what I've seen is people that get too intertwined into the ongoing investigation. So in other words, my rule is I will not absolutely under any circumstances communicate with any family or suspects of any of these. So what I do is I consult with retired law enforcement mainly, you who are very good, and I hold 4 hour conversations. You know, we regularly talk and we talk through these things that I think and through what they're thinking. And I find that by consulting with experienced investigators and forensic techs and all of these professionals, I'm able to balance my thoughts and work things through. And then when I come back, then I know what to bring to the public. I know what to say. But I refuse absolutely to have any contact whatsoever with the families, especially because I feel like I cannot get emotionally involved in something that has to be the result of logic. So that's where I separate myself. You know.
And
I
I talk to the families usually in my cases, or I have in the cases that I've covered.
So I
And
think it's fair to say, like, to talk about both and say, no matter what you choose to do, whether you're going to talk to families or not, I think it still boils down to how are you going to go about doing that? Because it can be okay. Like, I think at some points in time, there are some cases where there's family who is more outspoken or more um, involved on social media. There is a little boy. Oh no, I am having. There's a little boy whose dad killed him. He ran him on a treadmill, and then he punched him, and he punched him in his chest, and he had heart failure. His name is Oh, I feel terrible about forgetting his name. It's just slipped my mind. His mother is very involved on social media. She's a sweetheart. And she talks a lot, and I've kind of had some exchange in words with her. And Brandy Neal, Michael Vaughn's mom, she's on social media a lot, and she'll mingle with people. But I think talking to them over like just generalized conversation over social media versus establishing a relationship with people, kind of like what you were saying, Prof, like, that little more deeper connection. I think that's where you've got to be careful. It's hard.
mm-hmm.
It's
Really
difficult.
hard.
I prefer, I mean, for my own I feel to be fair, I have to not get emotionally involved. So that's where I try to put a wall up. I'm not going to do that. But that's
I
because
think
Being a
that's
good juror.
seems to work for me.
Absolutely. Your
I think
objective can be, you can keep your thoughts clear.
yes,
But it's my area of interest.
yes.
My main area of interest are homicide. Seems to be involvement, or even if they're solved, the cases that where family involvement was the main distraction and diversion for the investigation. It bothers me.
Yeah. Summer Wells case.
Yeah. And I
Ugh.
feel similar to John Benet Ramsey, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a one of the things that I want to do when I continue with my channel and on social media, I want to bring awareness to families that are closely related to crimes, whether they're victims firsthand or say even if they're cousins or in-laws or friends of the family or go to their church or their neighbors. The list goes on, right? I think there needs to be like a PSA. There needs to be a huge public service announcement. There needs to be like a place they're directed to go so that they are informed. Because if you don't follow true crime and you're not on YouTube or you don't follow this stuff, you have no idea. And that is exactly what happened to Gannon Stauch's family. They had no idea of the predators that are out there lurking. And they thought people are just people, that it wouldn't hurt so much to just talk to people or befriend people. And people are predators. That I think that families need a resource. I think that they need to just be aware, and they need to know what's happening out there.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic point. And I think that's where what we do is so important. There's a lot of cases out there that are so small that aren't getting attention. And, we have the opportunity to really help those people. but we don't want to do it at the cost of our own mental health.
Agreed.
And that's kind of like, even as viewing, dark murder shows all the time, as creators, when I'm making a video, I have to re-watch, like the one that I made about Gannon. I had to re-watch Land and Cry over and over again until I could get the clip right. And it like made me sick. Like, and so that's something that I had to be careful about. I had to step away when I needed to and allow myself the time to mentally refocus myself, really.
Yeah. I think you have to take a breath, That's why I really I had to give some thought as to what I wanted to do. I'm still thinking about it. Like, I don't know.
And it's okay. You don't need to make a decision, right now. I don't know if you saw the episode of Bailey Sarian, the Q&A that she just did, but she answered some questions, and I clipped some of them. I clipped 2 of them. And this is where she talks about how she has to set back.
How do you find the energy to create all your content? I'm hearting that one. It's funny you say that, because a lot of the times, for me, I feel like I could be doing so much more. I never feel like I'm doing enough. I always feel like I'm falling behind. I'm just constantly, not constantly, but I feel like I need to be doing more. You know what I've been doing more of? Sleeping, setting boundaries, learning when to turn it off, turn it down, as far as like my computer, my work mode, which is, wanting to like stay up all night and research and stuff. Like, I can't do that anymore as much as I want to. It's like, I need to make sure to go to bed, to shut down, to stop, to like make sure that at 7 p.m. I know it's no more murder for me after 7.
I love that. And I think that's important to set, boundaries for like so I take a shower at night. After my shower, I need to be done with my research, and I need to be able to relax and just take it easy. Because if you're always true criming it, I just can't sleep.
Yeah. Like I said, I end up down the rabbit hole. I'm just, how did we all get here to begin with? I'm a sleuther, I dig and I will find information, and I make sure that I've dotted my I's and I've crossed my T's before I'm like, yep, that's it. I know it. And so, yeah, that'll keep you awake.
It will. And then she also, that's kind of how I am, Cutie Pie. I hate it when channels talk about their sources and things like that, because I don't want to hear about your private sources. I want to hear about what's actually being said, what's actually being verified. I
want to see the landscape. I want to see what it looks like in the area where it's happened. I want to see maybe some maps. I want to see some court documents. When court documents come out, I love to see them. I like to stay on track with when cases are coming up, because I think someone said in the chat that they weren't sure when Quentin Simon's mother, Leilani, when her trial is going to start. And it's like, yeah, you lose track of all this, right? So it's like, to kind of have a way where you keep on your toes about that stuff, and when it's coming up, and you can watch the trials as they're happening, or get the cliff notes, or I like all of that. I mean, I'm reading the chat again. I'm like,
yeah, me too. Yeah, there was another video. Let's see if I can pull this one up. This is about Bailey and Sarian talks about if true crime makes her paranoid. I thought this was funny.
Ooh, Talia Lantin to me. Ooh, God, I can't say her name. So sorry. Talia Does creating MMM make you worried on a day-to-day that these things could happen to you? Well, it didn't now. No. I do get asked this question a lot. Like, does doing murder mystery makeup affect my day-to-day functioning? Am I paranoid? Are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. And I think I don't let fear control my day. So, like, yes, these awful things could possibly happen to me. Okay, you know, like, there are some things that you just can't control. I can't control what happens to me. I can protect myself, you know, but like, you can't live in fear that these things are going to happen. You can be alert and aware of your surroundings and do everything you can to protect yourself, right? But like, you cannot like control your life. You just can't. Like, I really just don't think twice about it. There are bad people out there. There's always gonna be bad people out there. And God, if something ever happened to me, that would suck. But like, you know, that's life. It's just, actually, I shouldn't say that because I'm not trying to walk on like any type of murder or anything. But just don't let fear control your life. Really, that's it. Like, no, it doesn't make me paranoid. When I hear like creaking and stuff in my house late at night when like I'm sleeping, yeah, I get a little paranoid. And I don't even think like there's an intruder. I think there's a straight up ghost. That's my first thought.
I thought that was funny. I think she has such a funny way of talking about things, and she was one of the first true crimers that I ever got to watch. So, hey, Prof, you back?
I'm back. Sorry about that.
Oh,
I
you're
lost
totally
connection too.
Oh yeah.
no worries. I was sitting up here talking to myself like you guys were in the chat where you were there, so it's okay. I do find the whole core process very interesting too, Cutie Pie. My only problem was, you know, when I went to Gannon's trial, and I saw like the medical examiner, and I met the family. Like Prof said, for him that was just too close for me, and I was pretty sad for that entire 6-week trial.
Mhm.
I took that pretty hard, and so my daughter even told me, she's like, you really need to turn it off. I'm like, I do.
Yeah.
Hey girl, it might be my internet booting you guys out. I apologize.
This time it was my phone. My son
Was
called.
it? Oh,
Yeah.
all right, let's see. So I found this article. This one was shorter than the Vice article. Let's see. Can you see it? Okay, yeah, you can.
Mhm.
Okay. So this one was from FHEHealth.com, and it just talks. It's called "Is True Crime Binging Affecting Your Mental Health?" And it says, you know, in recent months, National Public Radio published a piece about the ethics of true crime as entertainment. Bleep, bleep, bleep. As it happens, true crime is immensely popular, with almost 2 out of 3 Americans calling themselves fans of true crime shows or books. But is true crime watching or binging affecting our mental health? And it goes in to talk about the different shows on like Netflix. I never watched. Did either one of you watch the Jeffrey Dahmer series?
No, hell no.
No. I heard really bad things about it. So I heard that it glorified him, and I'm just not interested in that kind of stuff. But the article basically, it talks about that. And then it just goes on to talk about that psychiatric professionals, for them, it nearly goes without saying that a person's environment can impact their mental health. In a very similar fashion to "we are what we eat," the idea that our minds are affected by what they consume isn't a stretch. Do you agree? Do you think, I think that's a really good comparison. We are what we eat. It goes on to say, if you're already feeling down in the dumps, depressed, or anxious, binging or even watching a single episode of a true crime show could magnify those feelings. If you are already fearful or worried, these shows are more likely to reinforce some of those feelings. What do you think? Do you notice that, Prof?
Yeah, I think it's up to the person, but I think people who already are kind of struggling, it's definitely can downward spiral you.
Yes, I think so as well. Um, I definitely think if we're depressed, it's not going to make us happy to hear about children being killed or, domestic abuse situations. Um, says, usually though, when one leaves the roller coaster car behind, those feelings of fear and excitement quickly dissipate. Binging true crime shows and exposing oneself to their macabre and often downright gruesome scenes delivers constant reinforcement of fear and negative emotions. And that's not a healthy way to spend one's time. If watching these shows make one feel uneasy or emotional, it's important to just change the channel. And I think we basically, get that. Um, Goes on to just talk about why people engage in the activity. Um, but yeah, well,
I think also that you can't forget that a large population of people who follow these cases um, have been impacted by some sort of a traumatic situation. They've also, oftentimes been closely related to someone. They've known a friend. They've encountered someone. Maybe they work in an industry. They could be paramedics, first responders. They could be search and rescue, coroners, law enforcement. And so when you realize that a lot of the people that follow cases just like we do also seem to have that personal connection, it kind of explains it a little more too on it's like it's almost full encompassing the whole entire thing between the mental health, the heavy impact, the full-time dedication to it, and then where all these people come from. I mean, I know firsthand, I've got a couple things that I believe impacted me in my life that were close to me, that kind of led me on this path to true crime.
yeah, I think we all have a case probably, that grabbed our attention. Um, let's see. I have S7 found some really fun. I don't know how. She found some really cool like wellness wheel charts. You remember those if you ever went to therapy? I thought that she had some cool stuff, but let's see if I can get it. Oh, cutie pie, I know. I was in court when they showed those pictures, so I was more. I don't know if you can ever say ready, but
Yeah, I was there the day that they showed the autopsy um, photos with the medical examiner. I was there the day of the suitcase. Those were tough days.
yeah, those were incredibly. So I didn't actually, since I was there, I couldn't handle watching it again. Um, like I watched when I watched the live stream, so I never watched that part of it on TV. So I didn't actually realize they showed those pictures to people. Did they do that on purpose? Like I can't believe they did that.
Jury, yeah.
I mean,
So those were gruesome.
they were tough. I being as close to the case as I was, I expected them. I don't know how you could be worse, right? Or how it could be worse, but I did expect them to be a little worse. I guess maybe I don't know what worse would have been. I just maybe I had already put it into my mind that it was going to be so bad that I don't want to say I was prepared, but I kind of feel like I was a little prepared. I knew it was going to be bad.
Yeah, I had never seen I had never seen that. So that was really hard for me. it took me by shock, but I thought it was important to go because I wanted to see the jurors' reactions to it.
Mhm. Well,
But
and even during jury selection, they warned about how graphic those photos were going to be. I was very surprised that they were going to show it at all. I mean, Gannon's autopsy is technically within the state of Florida's website, the county that he was found in there under their website, and his autopsy has been locked up on their website for a long time. And Florida can be kind of they'll just throw it out there. They don't care. They'll just release autopsies. And so, when initially after he was found in his autopsy, it popped up on their website, and it was showing that it was under seal. I was like, ugh, this is bad. I knew.
yeah, that definitely changed my viewpoint on everything true crime. I know that I definitely needed a break. I felt like it completely broke my heart.
Yes, yeah. I just read Judge Warner was that man is phenomenal.
I loved him.
I will say, and I do want to shout out a lot of creators who were streaming the trial. They either tried to go back and edit those photos out or apologized tremendously, saying we don't want to further spread it. And
Yeah.
Facebook can get pretty trashy with true crime. And after Landon put out a message saying, please, I just want to remember my son the way that I remember him, no one posted those photos. And I was like, yes, good job, everyone. Like, they're out there. They're out there in places if you seek them out. If you're a person who wants to see that sort of thing, which there are. I mean, there's medical examiners and coroners and people out there who do look at that kind of stuff. You could seek them out, but in general, the Facebook groups and YouTube did a really good job of not exploiting Gannon, and I was so proud of them.
That's a really good point. I was so proud too. Of like Grizzly True Crime. I know that she was one that went in and edited it out.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
You guys, I'm
So
gonna
yeah,
have to
this
drop down, but I'm gonna still listen, and I'll be
Okay.
in chat.
Okay,
I'm
no
gonna
worries.
go
Thank
where I'm
you.
at. Yeah,
Thanks for
I'm gonna come on
joining.
again soon, okay? And
Okay, I would love
thank you
that.
for having me.
Of course, girl. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye. So it's just me and you now, Prof. P. Dizzle.
All right.
So this that I'm sharing, I don't know if you can see it. I might have to make it bigger. But so this is just a way to kind of, check your own mental health, your physical health. And these are just always questions to kind of, ask yourself to make sure that that you're doing okay and that you're aware of how you're feeling, how you're interacting with others, your long-term friendships. Are you starting to become more paranoid about social situations? Then maybe it's time to take a break from true crime. Maybe. I don't know. I just think this is so important because mental health awareness is so critical in our country right now. And I think a lot of it's being pushed under the rug. And, if we're going to report on the murders, we might as well also report on how people can take care of themselves while listening.
Yeah.
Trying to see if there's any other things to show you guys. So this is also, let me see if I can find the definition. It was interesting, the definition of vicarious trauma. Here it is. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's an occupational challenge for people working and volunteering in the fields of victim services, law enforcement, emergency medical services, fire services, and other professions due to their continuous exposure to victims of trauma and violence. This work related trauma exposure can occur from such experience as listening to individual clients recount their victimization, looking at videos of exploited children, reviewing case files, hearing about or responding to the aftermath of violence and other traumatic events day after day, and responding to mass violence incidents. And then S7 found, I really should have organized these better. Okay, there it is. These are the symptoms if you're, going through this, and something to be aware of. If you're feeling, lethargic, you don't have the time, you don't have the energy. If you're feeling disconnected, um, or if you're really depersonalizing these situations, I think there's a difference between getting too involved and depersonalizing murder. Um, I think balance, is key there. Social withdrawal, sensitivity to violence, despair and hopelessness, if you're having sleep problems, diminished self efficiency. Oh, wait, no, that doesn't say efficiency. Efficacy? I'm having a hard time reading, apparently. But those are some symptoms to kind of keep an eye out for.
Well,
Oh, S7's back. Hey, girl, hey. Yeah, I mean, and I've spoken to a couple of, the same people that Prof has spoken to and other law enforcement officers. And, they all seem to say the same thing, that they're all very desensitized to what is happening. And that must be really hard.
well, and for them, it happens every day, you know.
It does. Like the stories that I've heard from these, I have so much respect for the job that they do. Not at all saying that I think all police officers and all people in authority, are there for the right reasons, but there's very many that are, and very grateful.
Well, my ideas on the health, I'll tell you what I do for myself, how I handle life, you know, is that I structure things. I'm a structured person in that way. So, for instance, I told you that Saturdays are my day off. So this is off to me because I'm not working on my show I'm not investigating or making phone calls. I'm just relaxing because what I do with my week, for instance, I structure my whole week to have as much time as I feel I need off. And so for me, it's Saturdays. But
I think that's smart.
I also do the same thing with days. So in my days, I have a set way that I work. Um, so so for instance, in the mornings, I do my behind the scenes work for a little. And once I do my behind the scenes work, then say by noon, I don't do anything at all other than have a pleasant day. And then like when it's time to get ready for working again in the evening, then I make sure that an hour before I have myself ready for relaxing into it. So I sort of make it a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a job where I have 3 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the evening. And then it helps me
I think that's smart.
to not struggle. I don't worry all the time. I'm just I look at it as I'm putting in my work here and then I'm putting in my work there. And
I think
like
that's smart.
earlier about the environment. When I do start to feel pressure, if I'm feeling like I've been getting a lot of resistance to being on YouTube, and so when I start to feel that overwhelming me, I just turn it all off and I put on music,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoy a couple hours of music, or going out and taking a drive with the kid, or whatever I'm going to do. Sometimes it's just, I know when it's time that I have to turn it all off and take my own space. And so by doing my week like that, in my days, I don't feel so, I don't feel at the whims of I never know what I'm going to be feeling, because I feel like I do know what I'm going to be feeling within reason every day. And that has helped me.
I think that's really smart. That sounds like major balance that you have. And I think, that's what I've found, that I like to step up and take my daughter, step away and take my daughter to the park and go
Mm-hmm.
for a walk with my dog. And, sometimes I'll leave my phone at home if I'm feeling really brave. But, just completely disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Kit. Kit's here. Oh, no, I'm just doing it just today. Oh, hold on. Hey, girl.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are
Okay,
you?
I was thinking this is tomorrow. You want to know why?
Why?
Because you did write a comment back to me, and you
Mhm.
go, you can join us tomorrow.
Oh, did I write that today?
Yes, I'm like, oh, and then I didn't know you were live, so I checked my feed to see who was live, and you're live. So I'm sorry, I would have been here.
Oh, you are totally, totally fine. That is 100% my fault. Um,
No, I'm here now, so
well, hey. Yeah, this is Prof. Prof, this is Kit. She also has a true crime channel, and I follow her. So I really admire Kit. I've seen she, went through some things, and I think you handled them really good, Kit. It made me respect your channel, um, and just have a lot of respect for you.
oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
of
like
course. So how do you
I want
what
to
do
say
you do?
hi to the what's your panel guest? What's his name on YouTube?
Prof, the prof.
Oh, the prop. Okay. Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, kid.
Oh,
Oh,
hi. How are
hi, little
you?
Kay.
Oh, I love
So
you.
so do I. He's a cutie pie. But so what do you do, Kit? How long have you had your channel, and like what do you talk about on your channel, and kind of how do you uh manage your life and have just like how do you do it?
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Ready.
That could be a long answer. Okay, I started doing this about 5 years ago. It started with the Chris Watts case, okay? And because I cared about victims and all that, but then it got to a point coming into 2 years of it where it affected my mental health, okay? So I took a step back, doing anything to do with kids' cases, okay?
Okay.
And then the kids ones were getting to me. So instead, I started doing the missing, okay? But
Mm-hmm.
certain cases I stuck through to the end, like Gannon, for children. You
Yes.
know, it's still tough. I'm still, to this day, affected by all this, okay?
Yeah.
I'm sure many, many, many are. Now, I made a point on my channel. I don't know if you ever seen it. everything affects everybody different. She affected people, everybody. However, when you put yourself in the predicament I did of communicating with her for 2 years, your your the way you feel is even more deeper. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, it's a friendship, you know. Some of these relationships that we create online, they might not be we might not see each other physically in person, but we're talking all the time. We're going through all these stories together, and we create bonds, and when that bond is broken,
Oh yeah,
and
that's
that,
another
that
thing.
that's hurtful.
Yeah, there's a couple times they hurt me, but because I was friends with Letitia for 2 years. Okay.
Oh, I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
know that.
I wrote to her for 2 years. I took her phone calls. So I have Letitia in my life, and I've told anybody, if you plan on writing to somebody like that, guard your feelings, guard yourself, and be very careful. Be very careful.
Yeah, that's what Prof was saying earlier about how he kind of sets that boundary to make sure that he doesn't get, too attached. He doesn't he's made it so he doesn't like to talk to, he doesn't want to talk to families, and I've noticed that in the cases where I have talked to families, because I do reach out a lot, and I've noticed that it just breaks my heart. It makes me want to make more and more content for that family. But then it's like, I feel like I'm not doing enough. Um, and I find myself thinking about it constantly. And I think maybe I shouldn't talk to the families as much. I think that's smart to talk to law enforcement and things like that. So I'm not like biased. Um,
Yeah,
looking at
I get that. That's what kept me here also, and I will say that families reaching out to me in my emails. Please, can you please put my child out there? Can you do this? And that has kept me going, knowing that I'm doing the right thing and I'm helping people, because that's what it's all about for me. Okay, because this is my choice. Though I'm not monetized. You'll never see a cash link because I choose not to. Okay,
Wow,
but that's my choice.
I didn't know that. Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Are people able to donate at all to your channel?
Nope, not at all.
Wow.
I've always given like whatever case I'm talking about. Like if I used to do lives all the time, but some bad stuff happened having to do with the Letitia case, of course.
Of
And
course.
yeah, oh yeah, this is bad stuff has happened to me 3 times because of this case. What was I gonna say? Oh, I put the family's cash links and their GoFundMe
Yes.
in my description. But that's
Yeah.
my choice. Okay, there's a lot of good creators. Okay, don't get me wrong, that do, but just for me, I can't.
Yeah. Um, I try not to cover any cases that I have to do. So Gannon was my last case that I'm covering that for a little while that has to do with the child. Um, as a mother, it just wasn't something I could stomach. And so I'm not going to do that. I also try not to cover any type of cases that have to do with online predators. Um, even
Oh
though I
my
think,
God, I agree with you. Oh yes,
yeah,
definitely, I agree with you there.
it scares me too much.
If I talk too much, I'm not talking over you on purpose. I just don't want to forget. I don't know if you know this. I had a stroke, so
Oh,
I
I
forget
didn't.
things and I repeat myself, and not intentional. And that, see, okay, that's what brought me to YouTube. I better get this straight. I had a stroke, and it took me a year recovery. I mean, I'm doing super, super good because I can walk, talk, and all that again. But my nurse that came in and took care of me in my home, she showed me YouTube. I had no idea what it was, and she did it for to help me with my brain. Okay, which it has, which it has.
that's that's really, I find that magical. That touches my heart that, the medical doctor, knew kind of, or nurse knew, what could cheer you up or what could um, get your mind off of things. I guess not cheer you up. That's a bad
Yeah,
term.
because it was the front lobe of my brain. So that has to do with, learning, remembering things. Because my short-term memory is super bad. Long-term is really good. And if I go a couple days without making a video, I forget how to. Yeah.
Well, wow. Okay. So, and you've made a lot of videos. Was there, besides Gannon, was there any other case that really affected you?
Yeah. Evelyn Boswell.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Um,
the mom that killed her daughter, right?
yep. Quentin
Is that the one
Simon.
that just found in the dresser?
Evelyn Boswell.
Yeah, the
No,
baby.
she was underneath the trailer, and
Oh,
she was put in. She's wrapped up and alive and put in a bowl.
oh,
Okay, she was alive yet.
yeah. The kids
So
case.
that's a case I'm going to continue because I started. You know what I mean? I got to see it through for me. Okay, and then of course the Watts. I mainly ones that nobody has talked about,
Which
but
is important. I actually like that about your channel. I've seen a lot on cases that I've never even heard of. And I think that's one thing that we can really do to help the community is, get the word out of, crimes and stories that aren't really being talked about, like Daryl Wiggins. That's not being talked about anywhere for some reason.
and
So,
I have sat there and begged because you know what? I'm just a tiny creator, but you know what? I got a lot to offer, just like you do. Everybody has something to offer, okay? Everybody. And I would beg them. Oh, look at I got my Queen of the 140 votes. I'm sorry, I just did a Lori Vallow skit. See, that helps me get through this too, making fun of Lori. Okay,
yes,
sorry. Oh my. Okay, what was my point now? I'm sorry.
some things we have to have a sense of humor about. We have to laugh
So I
about
begged
certain
other
things.
creators, can you please just once a month just put one besides the high profile ones out there? But nobody, has.
Yeah. When I was trying to cover Daryl Wiggins, I could only find one article, which is what caused me to reach out to people closer to the case. Um, but then you also have to be really careful because you can't give away information. You have to be respectful of the family. So it just adds another layer where sometimes there's information that you don't want to know too. So
Exactly. Yep. And I did, when you told me you were going to do that case, I did go looking and I was really sad to see there wasn't nothing out there.
yeah. Yep, it was a hard one for me. Oh, my computer's alerting me that my computer's dying soon. Um, but yeah, that's a really sad case. I actually I am going to be creating more videos regarding that. But I'm working on them slowly, trying to make sure that I do it right and ethically. Um, but yes, that is one where I have talked to people, so now my heart's involved. Um, Quentin Simon, that was a really hard one.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
I can't, I can't understand killing a child, much less killing your own child. I don't understand. I can't even understand that.
And that's what I always say. I just want to understand why this person did it, but you're never going to understand because I would ask Letitia, see, now with me and Letitia, I did not fool her on anything. She knew that I got permission from her to share whatever I shared, and I was very, very careful what I'd share, okay? So I wasn't looking to get any kind of attention with her. You see what I'm going through now, right? I've been going through a lot in the last
Mm-hmm.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have. But I think you have really been a good role model, a very good example of how to handle yourself and how to stay strong. And I think that's important to be up there as well.
It was really hard for me to do. I'm going to be honest with you because I don't like having that, but I had to stick up for myself when I have over 90,000 people possibly coming at me,
Mhm.
and many did. I got sick of blocking, block, 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 block. I'm like, that's it. I have to do something about this. Otherwise, it's not going to quit until I do.
Mhm.
It makes me very frustrated when people come at, always remember the rumor, rumor mills are always going to be there, but until you know from your firsthand experience, you really shouldn't judge somebody else. Well, you know what I mean, and talk bad about another person. And I just see a lot of that, like in Discord, and some of those apps can be very dangerous.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I also made a point when I did that video, Stick It Up for Myself, the second one in 3 months, by the way. You don't know what's going on in somebody's real personal life. You don't know their struggles. You have no idea. You could trigger something, even though it doesn't have anything to do with whatever. Let's say if somebody self harms, okay? What if somebody is um, got other mental health issues people don't know about? You got to be very, very careful. What you put out there, words hurt.
Yeah. And Christy, I agree. This is the kind of stuff that negatively impacts people's health when people steer off into the direction of the drama and getting away from the case details. Um, and I think that can be very hurtful. So, so my computer's dying, so I'm gonna have to end the stream here in a second
Oh
or in a couple
no,
minutes.
okay.
These are some coping skills that, I don't know if either of you guys do. I love taking a shower, being stressed out and just sitting in the shower, turning on some good music, like Prof said. What are things you do,
Me,
Kit?
I
Yeah.
love music. I love music. That is like therapy to me. Okay, that's
Me,
what I love to do. Cooking and my grandbabies.
me too.
Yes.
I got 9 grandbabies.
Family.
So, yep.
Oh snap!
Mhm.
I want to. I want you to be my grandma. Just kidding.
You know what? My grandsons, I will show up at their school, but I'm a cool grandma. They call me Glamma at the school.
Oh,
They're not embarrassed by me because I'm a goofy one.
grandma.
I'm young at heart, but they're not embarrassed by me. Ain't that cool?
That's pretty cool. I love it when my daughter isn't embarrassed of me. Having a teenage daughter that wants to hang out with me is pretty cool. And
Ain't it?
Christy, I would love to do another live. And this time I won't tell Kit the wrong the wrong day. I don't know what I was thinking.
Well,
But
your thing did say the 27th, but then you, after my comment to you, messaged me back in that comment. I'm like, oh God, I must have looked at it wrong. Okay, I'll look for it tomorrow then.
oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Yep. Yep. But I'm so glad that you guys got to come on. I thought that this was a really important conversation to have, and I'm so glad I had
I
to.
think that needs to be said. Thank you so much for doing this because there's so much, and even doing this can help one another. This
Yeah,
right here, what we're doing.
yeah, and this is definitely something we can touch again on in, a few months or whatever we need to do to kind of get the word out there and try to remind people that it's very valuable and important to watch the true crime, but our mental health has to come first. So, in order to help people, we have to put, just like they say on an airplane, you have to put the mask on yourself before you can put it on anyone else. And that's so you don't lose consciousness and you don't, get to the point where you can't help somebody. So, that's important that we pay attention to that.
For sure. I agree.
All right, guys. Yes, let's build a better community together.
Exactly.
All right,
The
thank you
power in
guys.
numbers. Okay, thank you. Nice to
All
meet you
right,
guys.
bye.
Bye.